A CPA is out here. He came down here for Art Basel last week. He came out here.
My CPA is out here. He was out here for Art Basel.
He extended his stay for a day, so I had a chance to link up with him.
That's like the most rich fucking person thing to ever say. Yeah, you know, I went out last night. My CPA is out here. Was out here for Art Basel.
That's talking the most rich?
Bro, that's a pretty fucking affluent thing to say.
Well, I mean, it seems financially responsible.
Because here's the context behind that. You say, oh, my CPA is out here. One, that just means that, like, damn, you got money like that. You're not someone that's broke.
That's interesting.
So now, your CPA, it's not just you have a CPA. You have a CPA that goes to Art Basel, which is like one of the... It's been a crazy week in Miami because when billionaires, you know what's crazy? It's like billionaires will move people because when billionaires go like Art Basel, every billionaire's coming here to buy the finest art, right? Mm-hmm. In the modern day. So billionaires will come down, and when billionaires come down, what happens is then celebrities will come down to network with billionaires. Because when you're a billionaire, you're at the pinnacle.
Right,
that's where everyone wants to meet. So celebrities will then follow billionaires. Mm-hmm. Because they're billionaires here, celebrities come to network. And then because celebrities are here, now you have all the like influencers who are trying to network with celebrities, who are trying to network with billionaires. So there's this crazy like trickle down effect of like, if a billionaire shows up somewhere, celebrities follow, influencers follow. And then when influencers follow, you have everyone else underneath the influencers. Because people look up to influencers, influencers look up to celebrities, celebrities look up to billionaires, so on and so forth. So a billionaire comes to Art Basel, or let's say a flock of them, a swarm of billionaires come to Art Basel. All of a sudden, now the entire world is coming to Art Basel. And then because of that, the prices everywhere skyrocket.
Yeah, because I was thinking based off what it was that you were saying there, and you said something regarding networking. Because a lot of people always talk about networking but don't really know how. So imagine if you're just a regular Joe Schmo, you walk into a building, like let's say you go to Art Basel or something like that nature. You have influencers there, millionaires are there, athletes are there, entertainers are there, musicians are there, billionaires are there. And you're like, all right, well, I got to leave with somebody's contact or something. Mm-hmm. How do you go into that room, get somebody's contact in a way that they'll actually respond when you reach out?
It's hard, bro. I don't think there's a way to do it. So my first Art Basel, I didn't do it this year because I'm getting older, but like 3 years ago, before I even moved to Miami, I heard about this Art Basel thing. Everyone was talking about it. They're like, you have to go. I had just started making some money, some real money. And I was like, all right, let me go check this Art Basel thing out. I ended up going without realizing what it was. I didn't understand the economics of Art Basel yet. So I tried to go to a club where normally like you could go spend maybe $1,000, have a really good time. Everything there was like fucking $5,000 minimums, $10,000 minimums. I'm like, what has driven the price up at these clubs? And like me, I wasn't gonna I came and I was acting like the shit. So I was like, fuck it, I guess I have to pay for this. So I ended up doing it. It was still a good time and I met a lot of people there. But it was crazy because there's not really a way to network with these people. Because like, what is it gonna do? Like like whatever you do, you're not gonna impress anyone. Let's say I meet Elon Musk. There is absolutely zero reason for Elon Musk to look at me and be like, you know what? You're gonna be worth some value to me. Like the only people you can meet, I met a lot of like influencer people at Art Basel, I guess, which was cool. But as far as a business connection, you can make friendships. Like in cases like this, if you're trying to network up and network with billionaires, good luck. There's nothing you can do to provide value for a billionaire. That question, when people ask me that, I'm like, what value are you gonna provide for a billionaire? There's not much. I guess the one thing that I see, like this is the one thing, the only people I see that network with billionaires are the guys that like bring a bunch of girls places. Billionaires love that shit. If you're a billionaire and there's a guy that always moves around with like 20 women, that guy's getting invited everywhere. Right.
And it's the one thing that, although it's trendy now on social media over the course of maybe like the last 2 years, if you can provide a vibe
Yeah.
I think you can network with anybody.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, they always say lean with value.
Yeah.
But there's moments in which you can't necessarily provide that value to somebody outside of, the old school. This guy's just great to be around. This girl's a pleasure to be around. If you go into those rooms and you think, well, you have an email marketer. Well, you need help on your social media. These people are going to look at you like, we don't want to talk business here or anything. But if you walk into the room, you're funny, you're inviting, you're just very fun to be around, you can network with anybody. Right. And as long as you don't come off as needy. Like if I can walk next to like a Grant Cardone, or I pass near like a Magic Johnson, or you walk next to like a Jay-Z, you make them laugh and you leave. Right. You come back, you make them laugh again, you leave. You go elsewhere and everybody else like, yo, that guy was hilarious. Yeah. And then it gets to a point where they're like, yo, who the hell is this person? Because they want you to be around.
Facts.
And the reason why I say that is I could transition that right into the age-old question. I think we talked about it a while ago, but now I think I might have a different perspective about taking $500,000 or taking the dinner with Jay-Z. And I've seen a lot of different clips go viral on socials the last 3 weeks. And it had me really thinking, where anybody with a brain, take the money. Because what the hell is Jay-Z going to tell you in the dinner? Nothing. Just go, yeah, man, keep grinding. You got to keep working, man. It's going to be a bad idea, right? But if you go in there expecting to be like, man, we're going to become friends, it won't work. But if you go in there to where you now know what it is that you want to say, you have a goal behind it, and you can actually leverage just the fact that you had the dinner, the photo that perhaps you may have taken, then it works. But any other scenario, you take the money and you get the hell up out of there.
Yeah, I think if you're completely broke, you take the money. You get out.
100%.
But let's say you're a billionaire already. Take the dinner with Jay-Z.
Absolutely.
So I think it really just depends on where you're at, because if you can go into that dinner where Jay-Z will look at you like as an equal, we're like, cool, as a connection, like, oh, Jay-Z now knows you as a connection, that's money. But in most of those cases, you could get those meetings for free anyway.
Exactly. Because people go in and they think, all right, well, once I have this dinner, we'll have a further relationship at the conclusion of the dinner. There's no guarantee with that, unless you go in there prepared. Like I saw a clip where a guy was talking about he would take the dinner with Jay-Z because a photo is, worth 1,000 words or whatever the case may be. People will see the photo and they'll just associate, oh, wait, this guy must be somebody. He took a photo with Jay-Z. But who's to say you couldn't have just been a fan who ran into him at a restaurant, you took a pic. Pictures aren't working the way they did, 10 years ago, where they just associate you with this person because you guys took a photo. In the midst of the dinner, you've got to know, or to sit down, whatever it may be, coffee, whatever it is, you got to know what it is that you're asking, the purpose as to why you're asking, and you have to be so interesting to where he would want to further conversations with you outside of that setting. Yeah,
I think a lot of that just comes from, you can build your way up to that, though. So when people always say, like, I always get invited, like, yo, there was one time, I was in LA still at the time. Someone says, yo, you want to go to Dan Bilzerian's party? It's like $5,000 to get in. I'm like, why the fuck would I want to pay $5,000 to go hang out with Dan Bilzerian? Right? Like, I understand, like, it's going to be so many girls there. It's Dan Bilzerian. And guys were paying $5,000, which was crazy. But I would much rather work so hard that they can't ignore you, and they want you there.
Right.
Like it's gonna be one of those things where Dan Bilzerian, if you work hard enough, Dan Bilzerian will just invite you himself. And now you have all these guys that are paying $5,000 and be like, yo, you wanna pay $5,000? Dan Bilzerian's there, Renee Lacaud's gonna be there, Chisel Adonis is gonna be there, we'll pay $5,000 to get in. So when I see it, it's like, you should just work hard enough, and it's possible now. I was thinking about this the other day. I told you, we were at a comedy show, and some guy referenced you. So it's almost like you permeate through the culture. Because I see it all the time, too, on Twitter. Or like where people will like use your signature like phrases or your quotes. There was one, he was like, oh, he baptized him, or like...
Oh, yeah. The guy from ESPN.
In the name of the Holy Spirit. Like, I remember I saw that. I was like, yo, crazy, because sure, it could be a coincidence, but it's also you permeate through the culture. At this comedy show, they made a joke and they said something about like a chiseled Adonis, and I'm like, that's hilarious. So, yeah, bro. And the wildest part is if you've been able to make a ripple into the world strictly from your computer.
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah, and funny enough, with the new year now being here, a lot of times people can't really recognize how important, you can utilize this computer and go very far with it. Yeah. It's not just, all right, I get over here, I write some emails, maybe I type some stuff out, make a presentation, go and work. You can make an endless amount of money if you just apply yourself. Like I saw you posted a video, I think you said it was the most important video I've ever made or whatever, and you were talking about different things you would do if you were in need of money, searching for a job. You would go and get a job somewhere and then see how you can go help another business and everything, all from your computer, as long as you just apply yourself and you're hungry.
Well, this is a crazy one also. I recently had a video that got like 25 million views across the internet.
Oh, congratulations.
And it's wild because it took me like maybe 10 minutes to just shoot it on my phone real quick. And I was just sharing a story that I saw on Twitter. It was the one you sent it to me.
Oh, yeah. Right. Got you.
It kind of caught my eye. I posted it on TikTok. It got like a couple million views, I think 3 million views. But then what happens is like someone else posted it on Twitter. That got 7 or 8 million views. Yeah. And then World Star Hip Hop picked it up and posted it on their front page. So now it's like on the front page of World Star Hip Hop, a bunch of like Instagram theme pages are picking it up. This Twitter account goes viral. On my TikTok, it's viral. So there's people are doing reaction videos to it, which were hilarious. So like it almost took on a mind of its own. And now the video has like 25 million views. And it's literally just like, you don't know when shit like that just happens. Because I didn't plan for it to do that.
Right.
I was just posting something and it just rippled through. So it's crazy how much reach you can get from literally this thing right here.
Right. Just the phone in it of itself. And it's funny because there's a lot of people where they'll have content go viral and they don't prepare for that. So now when you have people come in like, oh, well, I'm interested in this person, let's go follow them. And you have almost no library of there's no library of videos for the person who's now coming in to actually want to stick around. Or now that you have this new wave that's coming in, you feel the pressure to try to see, oh, well, how can I, keep the same momentum? How can
you're trying
equal? You're trying too hard at that point.
Right. It's you don't have like a follow-up because most of the time like genius comes out of like a weird place and you can't really fake it. So if you just build like some sort of library, it's good. But when you try to force it, it just doesn't hit.
Yeah. You know how many people I've seen go viral on TikTok, on YouTube, Instagram, and they get this large influx of people who just now came in and they can't, it's not even that they can't maintain it. They feel the pressure to say, well, I wasn't preparing for this. But anytime that you post on social media, especially now that the algorithm's all over the place, like anybody can go viral now. You have to have an understanding. There's a possibility this may go further than just my 16 friends.
Right.
So if that's the case, and the digital footprint is incredibly strong. So you can say something in 2018 and be, oh, well, you can't hold me to what it is that I said, which fair enough, but this is still the internet.
Right.
So somebody's going to pull it up. And when they see it today, they're going to assume that your thought process is the same from back then because they're seeing it today. Yeah. You could have a tweet that goes viral from 2013 in 2024. They saw it in 2024. Yeah. So even though it was in 2023, they're like, hey, I'm reading this now.
That's why Kevin Hart got canceled.
Right. Because he had wrote the stuff on Twitter, which I think it's ridiculous. Yeah. But anybody with a brain would say, well, 10 years ago, you're not the same person that you were, but you saw it now. And because you didn't see the apology or let alone seek it out to see if there was an apology. Yeah. Now you feel like, well, I'm victimized. Let me go and ask for this apology now because I'm seeing the tweet now. Yeah, but
I got some shit that people could dig up, man. I got some things.
Right. It's one of the reasons why you got to move. You got to move very militant per se. Yeah. On social media because there's a possibility down the line somebody could pull something up. Unless of course you're like, no, I'll stand on that. No, I did say that shit. Right.
Oh, that's scary.
You know how many people have no idea that, well, I shouldn't even really say no idea. I think they don't care now because it's not tangible yet, because maybe they have infants or maybe their children aren't even yet born. But it's only a matter of time. Give it about 20 years, 15, 20 years, where your social media will probably still be up, and all of a sudden, look what mom was doing, look what dad was doing.
The funniest tweet. So like 3 or 4 years ago, there was a tweet, and I was like, I can't wait for kids to get bullied about their mom's OnlyFans. And then it actually happened, and then someone like quote tweeted it, and they were like, yo, we're finally here. We're finally in this era. Because I guess a kid was getting bullied because his mom's OnlyFans, which is crazy. That's wild.
It's ridiculous. And even with OnlyFans, I don't know if you saw Ruby Rose, her #1 subscriber on OnlyFans paid $62,000.
Oh my God.
For a 1-month subscription, but he made the payment in 1 day.
That dude got to be like a fucking he
crypto,
has to be like
crypto whale.
Yeah,
he's
bro,
a crypto whale.
That's fucking
he's a crypto whale. Because apparently they pulled up a couple of videos where from like 2018 he was in the studio with Juice WRLD or whatever the case was. So this guy must have been into some money for some time. Now I don't know his complete background, but I know he's definitely into crypto because he already said, "Hey, I made most of my money through crypto, all this other stuff,
that's sickening,
Bitcoin."
bro.
And what's crazy was when I first saw it, and I made a video about it. When I first saw it, I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, this dude looks like he's never been outside the basement. But he ran into, although Ruby Rose says she ran into him, I'd highly doubt he ran into her. It was one of those situations where he must have been searching, because anybody who's got that kind of money, who spends on OnlyFans like that's a one sinister motherfucker.
You said how much?
$62,000.
The base Cybertruck costs $61,000.
Yeah.
The average American salary is like $48,000.
Yeah.
He dropped all of that for a 1-month subscription, where the actual subscription is $20.
But why? I'm getting it. Why did he?
Apparently, he has some sort of affinity for her. But what made it so interesting was in the comment section on the tweet, there were 2 other OnlyFans girls. Oh my God, it's him. So it's like, does he have multiple other subscriptions? It was crazy. Then, to take it a step further, 2 days later, Ruby Rose on her Twitter, I only found this out because people tagged me, told me, I had to go do a video on it.
Yeah.
She released the text messages because I guess she gave him her number, because after she saw how much he had spent, he wrote endless amount of back-to-back messages. Then, because she wasn't responding, paid an additional $30,000 in an effort to get her to respond. She didn't. Then, this is what's so bizarre. Threatened to give her 10 Bitcoin. That would be equivalent to $400,000. So his total ticket at this point is approaching $500,000. This is $500,000 just to get a response.
Oh my God.
From her, talking about, I've loved you for the very first time. I ever saw you on Instagram. I know we'd be perfect together. And while I'm reading all of this, I'm like, for one, all money's not good money. And then 2, this dude clearly is deranged.
It's weird because it's like, what the fuck are you, like, what are you thinking? It's wild to me that people think you can buy.
Right. Buy somebody.
Buy somebody. Me and my girl.
Right.
Yeah. Me and my girl were just fighting about this the other day. Or not the other day, like, not fighting, but we were in a heavy discussion about this today. Because I said, so the video I posted, the one that went viral, I talk about, like, long story short, it was a fake account saying that, hey, it was pretending to be a girl saying, my friend needs someone to inseminate her. And I got all of these dudes that were just DMing super thirsty. I'll do it, right? And I made the comparison. I was like, yo, when a guy hears like sex, he turns his logic part of his brain off, in the same way like girls with money are like guys with sex, right? So when a girl sees a guy with like money, I guess in this case, no, because other shit supersedes that. But when they see a guy with money, they're like, oh, but even if he's a red flag, they'll be like, but I like him for some reason.
Right.
Same thing with guys with, like, when it comes to sex, it's like, oh, they turn their logic off. So this is a perfect example of like this dude spending all this fucking money. For what, bro? You think she's gonna like you when you spend all this money? It's crazy.
Right, because what's crazy about the entire situation is the fact that here's somebody who's making, I think she's top 15 on OnlyFans, right? So she's already making
Who's
bank.
number one?
Number one, it might be, who's on that? Was it
I saw who
Black China was in the top 3. Black China was in the top 3.
Son.
Cardi B was in the top 5, and then what's her name? Bella, I forget her name. She was on Shake It Up when Zendaya. What was her name? Yeah, Bella Thorne. That's what. Yeah, Bella Thorne.
I saw.
She's up there as well.
There was the Cash Me Outside girl.
Yeah. Bad Baby. Yeah, she was
made like it was like 8 figures.
The day when she turned 18.
8 figures, bro, was wild.
Went on OnlyFans, made, I think it was like 30 some million.
No.
It was insane.
Yeah.
She made an incredible amount of money. But what made it so creepy was you went on to OnlyFans when you turned 18. These people were waiting, biding their time for an opportunity. Oh, she's legal now. We're going to pay endless amount of money to go. So you
wild.
must have been waiting. I remember years ago when Kylie Jenner had turned 18, they had a countdown on the E! Network
Oh, nah,
to her
bro.
18th birthday. And I'm sitting here like, nobody finds this creepy.
That's kind of like sicko. That's gross.
It's so bizarre.
I'm on a list.
It's my point exactly. Anybody who has that OnlyFans subscription, it's like, what are you really here for? Let's really keep it, because this isn't you just scrolling. Oh well, there's a new account. Because do they have an explore page on OnlyFans? I don't know how it works.
Well, so
Is it like a news? Like you have to deliberately say, I'm gonna go and seek this person out.
Yeah.
So if I now go on your very first day of you now being an adult, going, yeah, I'm going to go pay and subscribe. You must have been watching from way before. These are some sick individuals.
I mean, I feel like any person that spends on OnlyFans, it's like there's something like wrong there. You know,
Right.
because bro, you could go on like Pornhub for free. I don't like recommend this, but like
But it's not her.
there's levels.
Right.
There's layers to the fucking sickoness. You know,
Right,
like
right.
Like there's people that like I don't watch porn. I don't know. It's gross. I don't know. It doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, the older
Right?
that I've gotten, it's just, it doesn't work anymore.
But like OnlyFans at the bottom for you to be. No, I guess not even OnlyFans. The dude that spent 1,000, 62,000.
Yeah, 62,000,
That's
yeah.
the very bottom. But then there's like OnlyFans, and then there's like regular porn, and then like I feel like there's a fucking rabbit hole, because for you to get that down bad is like ridiculous, bro.
Right? Is it because you gotta wonder, what does your day to day look like?
You know, if you said this, and I'm not like condoning this, but like if you had said, oh, he paid 62 grand to get some coochie,
Right.
I'd
right.
be like, okay, like that's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy. But David, you do have to say it's like, oh, like
At least it was.
yeah,
you
like,
got something
put a
out of it.
Yeah, you put a price on it. But for you to just do it for fucking a phone number and not get responded to, bruh.
And then exposed. And then exposed, to the internet.
And then offering more money.
More money.
Wait, so he got exposed and then offered more money?
Yeah, no, in the midst of the messages, he was right, because she hadn't put it out yet. But now I think it's been about a week since he was. I don't know if he created his own, like a new Twitter account or something like that, because there's been a page that's supposed to be him just reposting the stuff. So unless this is something that he gets off on, like, oh boy, I'm getting exposed to something. If that's the what is masochism? If there's something like that,
Well, I think
then
for him though, maybe because she almost put a target on his back. She's letting every single OnlyFans girl on the planet know that, like, yo, this dude's a fucking. This is the mark right here.
Right.
Get his ass.
But then at the same time, she also puts a target on her back, because it makes you wonder, going back to what I had stated earlier, this is a guy who just dropped 62,000, has all this excess of money, but was able to locate you.
Yeah.
And find you. Now, granted, you can say, well, you know, she has security and all this other stuff, but this is a person who has endless amounts of money. If you're somebody who's willing to drop that amount of money and threaten to give more, like usually somebody, I can threaten to give, get your page taken out. No, I'm going to threaten to give you more money.
Well, that's a kink.
Right, exactly. Yeah, right. So
It's called what?
Findom.
A
Findom?
lifestyle activity in which a submissive is required to give gifts or money to a dominant.
Right.
So, like, you like being financially dominated by a woman, or I guess a person.
But what's so
Crazy.
interesting in that, because it's a one-way relationship.
Yeah.
and it's transactional. Because if there was
one-way transactional relationship,
right? Because if it was a situation where she actually was responding, because in the midst of his message, because I read everything that he had wrote in the video, and I tried to read it in like this weird sort of tone to where it sounds like you're a desperate dude, but he stated that they had spoke briefly on OnlyFans, and that was just enough for him to go and say, well, I'll go and I'll pay more. I'll do everything.
What's crazy?
It's craziness.
You know what's crazy? This is the craziest part. Because Ruby Rose, all I know about Ruby Rose is she's getting dogged out by these rappers.
Yeah.
And they're treating her like garbage.
Right.
And that's what she likes. So for this dude, for her to like turn around and like expose this dude, it's like, it says a lot about the woman. But like a good example, I remember there was one, who was it? It was a rapper. Lil TJ. I guess he'd flown her out. And then, like, obviously, like, he flew her out, did the thing, and then he didn't book her a flight back.
Oh,
and then he posted a video of her crying. So she's crying because he won't book her a flight back, and then she didn't want to pay for a flight back. I don't know.
Right. So I saw that clip.
Crazy. So it's like this dude, like, flies her out, smashes, I'm assuming, and then doesn't fly her back out. And then she likes that. There's another one, like, DDG.
But why couldn't she book
DDG.
That's what's the confusion. Right.
So another one, DDG. I guess he had like broken up with this girl, and then he hits her up. He's like, "Yo, like, what you up to?" Like, just like a fucking you up type text, because he was having issues with this girl, and this girl is like the type of girl that like responds to that.
Right.
And she doesn't respond to dude. Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, and I feel like the guy should have done more research and be like, man, maybe I should come at it with this energy, but
and just to close it on this topic here was, I'm always curious, what is the circle of somebody like that? Because you can't possibly have friends who actually care or love you. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way, because you have to, I don't want to say consult with those who are around you about making a decision like this, but if you're going to spend that amount of money, you have this affinity for this person, there's no way you don't have friends or somebody who knows, like, hey, yeah, I'm really into this or whatever, because now you're publicly exposed. Who do you now converse with who gives a shit about you, about what the consequence of your actions or how you could have avoided this situation? Yeah. Because I know if it was one of my friends, there's no way that transaction's happening.
But I think what happens though is J. Cole has a verse about this, and I think it's fire. He just says like, and this is not verbatim, but he says something along the lines of like, when you're rich, like nobody wants to tell you anything.
Right.
They just let you get away with whatever it is. Like, and he later goes on to say like, do every single drug, no one cares. Do whatever you want, no one cares. No one's really looking out for you because you're rich. You're just a bank account now. So I think this guy, especially this guy, when someone tells him something, he's probably like, shut up, bro. Here. Don't tell me what to do. Here's your 10 grand.
Yeah, hush money. Right.
And then now everyone's like, okay, well, all right, I'm just gonna let him get away with it. So like, he almost wants the worst for himself.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, some people are suckers, right?
Right.
Some people are suckers. They were built to be suckers. They're gonna be the ones that get took. It is what it is.
Yeah, and it really enforces like that age-old, saying of, wait, sometimes the wrong people come into money.
Yeah.
Because you could see somebody who desperately actually can use that kind of money, or catch like a crypto pump and then go crazy and actually do great for the world, but then the wrong people end up with money. But that's the game of life. Not everything's going to work out, in your favor.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Anyways, I remember we were talking about New Year's. Right before we got sucked into this, we were talking about New Year's. You got any New Year's resolutions?
Oh, yeah, I have to. I have to become a millionaire next year. I have to. Yeah, I have to.
I don't think it's that. Yeah. I don't think it's that big for him.
I will be 30, and my goal is to accumulate $1 million in the year.
So, okay, so this is because this is a thing. I posted millionaire on my social media. One, because it gets views and clicks. But two, by definition, I could be like, yo, I'm a millionaire. What is your definition of a million? Like $1 million liquid cash?
Yes, but I've been different, because a lot of people with net worth is just a matter of assets versus liability.
Yes.
So let's just say if you were to purchase $1 million house.
Yeah.
At that point, hey, I'm a millionaire. Because
that's how technically, if we're gonna say millionaire, that's my definition of it.
Right.
Because I'm gonna be very honest. I don't have $1 million cash.
Right. Right.
So. Yeah, so it's like you want to accumulate $1 million liquid.
Right.
But don't you feel like
There's a insane, because I would have to make $3 million, I think, in order to where, because with taxes,
Right.
of course, with the overhead and the back end of the business and everything like that, I would have to make probably between 3 to 4 in order to have that $1 million liquid.
So, but don't you believe that, let's say you make $1 million, wouldn't that $1 million be better served owning, I don't know.
Absolutely. That's why I think, why I said I want to make $1 million. Like it'll have to be gross rather than
gross $1 million.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
because in my mind, I always considered if you are a millionaire, you have $1 million liquid.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, if your money's not working for you, what is it really there for?
Right.
So you rather have that money active.
So yeah, so you want to gross $1 million.
Yeah, I want to gross $1 million. But in my mind, I've always considered, because for example, like with if you're somebody who makes 6 figures, which I hate the terminology because it's anywhere between 100,000 and 900. Like it's such a broad. And so anytime somebody says, hey, I make 6 figures, you're probably just over 100,000, under 200,000. Because when you make $250,000, oh yeah, I make $250,000. I make $500,000. Nobody ever says 3/4 of a million. They just say 7 something. So, but whenever somebody says 6 figures, it's like, okay, you make 100,000 and some change, right? Yeah. But for me, I've always looked at it as the rule of 3. You don't get to say you're like a 6-figure earner unless you've done it consecutively 3 straight years. Fair. Right? Once you've done it and then it's now predictable that this is going to happen, I think you can say it. Right. So, but for me, my biggest New Year's resolution is I have to earn $1 million next year.
Cool. That's actually a great resolution. You know, like I actually, confession, guys. The first time I put millionaire in one of my social media posts, I wasn't a millionaire. I have the tax return. I saved it. I missed it. I missed it by $24,000. I have a tax return. I can show you guys. I can show you guys after the podcast. I made $974,000 that year. So yeah, I missed it by $26,000. But then I looked at it, I was like,
have you no shame?
Man, I'm not gonna fucking say I make 6 figures now because I own a 6-figure business. Fuck that, bro. I missed it by 26 grand.
I'm right there with you. I'd round it up. But then at what point do you round up or round down? Because at which tenth of 1,000 do you stop at? Well, I made 900. It's funny though, because I looked at it and I remember seeing it. I was so mad. At the end of the year, I was like, fuck, because I wanted to see $1 million on there. This is back in 2019 or 2020. I wanted to see $1 million on there. It was fucking like 970 something. And I'm like, fuck, bro. I missed it by that much. But I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to say $1 million. No, that would eat me up, man. That would eat me up because if I had a down year the next year, I'm like, dude, I was so fucking close. Like, there's no way. Like I remember my first very, very good year when I was just closing in on 100,000, and I think I was at maybe 80 something, and then I had a great push in Q4, and I was just sitting there like, wait a minute, what happened? And then 3 weeks into January, I was able to get, I'm like, son of a bitch. If there was an extra, let's say if the year was 55 weeks, I would have been able to say, man, I've made 6 figures this year. It was wild, man. It was wild. Yeah, but for me, it's always been predictability. If you can do it 3 times.
Earning $1 million, I think you got it, bro. I think it's easy. And one thing I was thinking about today, too, because you fucking walked here.
Yeah.
There's a storm outside right now.
Right.
People don't realize it's like windy and like raining and there's a storm outside. This guy fucking walked here. You're somebody, you have a very stoic mindset. Very Spartan-like. Like you, I could just imagine you being in your hotel room and you're like, oh, okay. You look outside, you're like, it's not that bad. And you just go anyways.
Yeah.
You know? So I think.
I remember I needed a cable and I was like, dude, there's a Target maybe like 2 blocks, but it's hot as fuck. Just get an Uber. He's like, 2 blocks, I'll walk it. But I was like, dude, it was like one of those really hot, humid Miami.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I was sweating while on. Yeah, I did it.
You have a very stoic mindset. I see you too, like you work and then you work out, and your consistency is crazy because you're consistently on the YouTube shit also. So it's like you have a crazy consistency and like you exercise consistently, you do stuff consistently, very Spartan-like.
Yeah, it's funny because that's like one of my, not necessarily claims to fame, but that's one of my virtues per se that I try to stand on. And actually, I got it trademarked with a commit to the commitment of consistency. So I've been this person who loves new challenges. Like when I was in Atlanta, I went down there. There was an award show, the Melanin Millionaire Awards. They did it was their very first annual award awards and everything of that nature. So I went down there, just go inside of the network of just these multi-millionaires and everything. But while I was down there, one of the people that I networked with, he goes to a boxing gym. Right. He's like, yeah, you want to go hit the gym? I'm like, yeah, perfect. I go in there, and I haven't been in a fight in 15 years. Right. I've never actually sparred, inside of a gym, inside of a ring, whatever the case is. So I'm just working out. He's like, yeah, you want to go get around? And I'm like, well, I've never trained for any of this. Like, I've taken like a kickboxing class maybe once or twice, but I'm not in a situation where I know, timing or whatever. I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. Wrap my hands, put on the stuff, and just step in there. These dudes hit me with bombs or whatever, and I'm having the time of my life. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, this is a new challenge. This is something that, I can go into the wild, because you're a 10 plus year kickboxing guy. Yeah. But for me, it's like, I know I got some good dukes in the streets, right, but I couldn't professionally, go and do it. But I love new challenges. Yeah. Because I don't want to say it activates the fight or flight, but right, it puts you in a scenario where you're trying something new. When was the last time you've done something for the very first time? Try something new, expose yourself to different sort of stuff. And life shouldn't always be just easy.
Facts.
Sometimes it should be a situation where you go through the storm, or you walk through the heat, or you try something new. You should never get too comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I think because when I look at you, because I'm big on, like, when I like to study other successful people, because it lets you know that there are different pathways to success. I don't operate like you. I'm disciplined in a sense, but I think you are more consistent. You're more stable. You're more dependable than me. I operate in spurts. So I'll have like manic spurts where it's like one day I'll just put in like 16 hours. Mm-hmm. And then, or like 1 week I'll just burn myself out completely. And then another week I'll be lazy. Then 1 week I'll just burn myself out completely and be lazy. So I'll do this like spurt, kind of slow down, spurt, slow down. Mm-hmm. But I think that's dangerous, because people get caught up in the slow down. So they slow down and they never pick back up. But I typically have a good, I'll slow down, I'm like, snap out of it, boom, and I'll spurt again. So I'm like a sprinter. And you're like a jogger, but we're both headed towards the same goal. But sometimes I look at that, I'm like, damn, I wish I was more like that. But then I realize with my personality type and how I am, I spurt. I'm a sprinter. Right.
But then I think you have to also have like that checks and balances. So you have that accountability, because you in your program where you... Shout out to Jeff, because he's one of the people who keep you grounded. It's like, I can't let Jeff down. Yeah. So with a situation like that, if you have something that holds you accountable, now you'll always have to get out of those down cool moments, because there's people who are depending on you.
So the way I look at it, right? Like let's say you're going up at a steady incline. The way I look at it is like every time I spurt, I just have to have like a new floor for myself. Right. So I spurt, I get really high, and then I go down a little bit, but the floor is still higher than the previous floor. Right. And then I spurt again, and then the floor is still higher than the previous floor, and the floor just keeps getting higher and higher. So I'm consistently making progress, but at the same time, I'm not this like slow and steady type guy. And I think it's just a personality thing. I think everyone has different personalities. And as long as you don't ever let that like slow part get ahead of you or get part of you, then you're fine.
Yeah, because a lot of times people get very comfortable. Yeah. And which I understand. Like whenever somebody says they want to make money, right? And they'll be like, all right, well, how much, would you like to make per month? Well, I'd love to make 10 grand a month. Great. You start making 20. Now you've made it past what you had initially had planned for. But you find yourself in a very sweet spot where you can push further to where maybe you could go from 20 to 50. But you're so comfortable at 20, that drive that got you to pass your goal of 10 to get to 20, you're now going from 20 consistently. You'll end up having a drop off where you go down to 15. You're like, well, it's okay, because my goal was 10. Then that consistency is gone. The work ethic is gone. Yep. That 15 now drops down to 12. It's okay. I had over 10. And then you start to get to the point where you completely lose the identity that was necessary to get to where it is that you want to go. Not to say that you should constantly try to keep pushing to go further and further and further. But the moment that work ethic is gone, the value system that was necessary to get to your original goal and even pass it is gone, because you're now comfortable and, well, I don't have to work as hard anymore or whatever. Because not to say, as you continue to ascend, the goal should be to work less hard as you did before, but I think the same intangibles should still be there.
Right. Well, I think a good indicator, I tell people like all the time, if you want to get rich, get in shape. That's a really good indicator because it's the easiest way for you to build some sort of like level of consistency.
Right.
Because even when I say like my slow times are like, I still go to the gym, I still exercise. I just don't work as hard. I'm not as focused 100% of the time. Because my focus days are like, I'm dialed in 12 hours straight, you know, which is unrealistic for a lot of people, but I'm dialed in for 12 hours straight. And then my unfocused days, maybe I work 3-4 hours a day where I'll wake up, I'll go to the gym, do busy work, and then continue. And like I maintain. That's a better way to do it. I'll spurt, then maintain.
Right.
Spurt, then maintain. But yeah, man, I wish I had a goal like that for New Year's resolution. I don't really have one necessarily, but $1 million is nice. What's discouraging is like I haven't had a $10 million year yet, but the jump from like $1 million to 10 million, and maybe it is my own limiting belief, it's fucking difficult. Because $1 million is only $3,000 a day.
Right.
You know, it's only $3,000 a day, and in the grand scheme of things, if you have the proper vehicle, it's relatively doable or easy to get there. 10 million is $30,000 a day. And maybe I'm just not at that level yet, but I'm thinking like, fuck, how do I make 30 grand a day? Because I've been racking my brain. I'm like, if we want to do 10 million, you need to make 30 grand a day. How do I do that? You know, so I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, what are ways I can do that? I'm building a software company because that could potentially work.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's an undertaking. But New Year's resolution, man, what would be a good one?
Good Lord. Well, I mean, location, maybe acquire properties.
Definitely. I think that's part of what it is. Someone asked me my plan, like, what's your plan right now? I think because I've been making so much money on the internet throughout my entire 20s, I was like, let me just double down on making money on the internet because I'm so good at it, I could just continue to do this thing.
Right.
But as I get older, I need to get on that, like, my
real
CPA
estate
was an Art Basel level, you know? I gotta get some real estate. So I think that might be acquire some properties. Right.
Because that's also something I also have to do for next year. Actually, in the start of the 2024 is acquire a property and get a house somewhere. Because that was one of my main conversations, was just figuring out what is the best move. Because for me now, I look at everything from a tax perspective.
Right.
I think over the course of maybe like the last 3 years, I've always looked like, all right, what can I find benefit not only on the front end but also on the back end down the line. So if I was to go get a single, family home, I know as time progresses, especially if it's like in Jersey or something like that, and it's very close to Manhattan, people who are moving to New York probably can't afford to stay in New York, but you could stay in just on the outside of New Jersey. But if I now sell this, I'm flipping.
Right.
So do I want to become one of those flipper, of houses? That's not really my expertise. If I now get a multifamily house, do I want to be a landlord? I would rather do it in a scenario where I know people who are looking for places to stay.
Yeah.
I now have a property. You can stay with me. But then at the same time, now I got to hound you. Well, not necessarily hound you, but make sure that you don't try to backdoor me and not give me my money. Now there's going to be an interesting situation with the relationship. But acquire property, that's definitely a big thing, because I feel like that's a step every entrepreneur like almost has to make.
I think that's the next part of my thing. I think if you're gonna do it, if your goal is $1 million next year, my goal is to 4 properties in a year. I think that's realistic. Every quarter I'll pick a new one up.
Yeah, definitely. Because you've been in the entrepreneurial space for quite some time, made a good deal and good amount of money. But then now it's just a matter of, all right, you acquire these properties. You just got to have the proper plan in motion for what it is that you want to do with it. Because I know we talked about this briefly about like acquiring a apartment complex.
Yeah, that's crazy money.
But then that's like down the line. Because I think that's ultimately where it's like, all right, you kick your feet up and you could semi-retire.
Depending on where you get it,
Yeah, depending on where you get it.
I was looking at some of the prices, though. The ones that would retire you, they're a lot.
Yeah.
So I was looking at, I like looking at things that I can't afford. So I looked at a apartment complex in Santa Monica in California. And this was like 27 million or something.
Jesus.
But I looked at the units, I did the math. I was like, okay, Santa Monica, good area. You're averaging $4,500 a month in rent from all your units. I think there was like 100 something units. So like you're clearing like $500,000 a month.
Right.
Owning this thing, right? And I did the math. The mortgage is going to be like $250,000 a month, so you'll be profiting $200,000 at full occupancy if it's not empty. So I did the math. I came to the conclusion you make $100,000 a month passively if you were to buy this $27 million complex. And then the down payment on that would probably have been like a couple million, $3 or $4 million.
Right.
So you put $4 million down, and then you make $100,000 a month for the rest of your life.
That'd be perfect.
So I thought about it. I was like, all right, cool. That makes sense. Let me figure out how to do that.
Yeah. And just before we close, in real estate, it's an interesting game. Yeah. It's an interesting game because I've absorbed a lot of content regarding real estate, just trying to learn about it. And sometimes I find myself, back at square one. Other times I'm there like, all right, I'm starting to get an understanding of all of this other stuff. But it's an interesting game because for me personally, what people would consider like the forever house, I would just ultimately get real estate to where that cash flows some money. I'd buy some land, build my own house on top of it, and that'd be the end of it.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like, and aesthetically, it just seems like now everything looks the same.
Right.
Like even with, I've went on mansion tours because I'm the same way where I want to go see things I can't afford. And although on the inside, they look very aesthetically pleasing, right, but just the infrastructure, everything just seems very similar. Like I'd love to have a house that looks like a castle, just because it looks different. Like have different sort of walls or something. So when people drive by, what the hell's going on over there? Like I just feel like that's one of those things for me. But yeah, I want to figure out the blueprint over the course of the next 5-6 years to what can free me by the time I'm 35, then I could just kick my feet up and not have to worry about anything and work when you really want to rather than the necessity to have to.
Like a passion project.
Right.
More of a passion project, less of a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm big on that, man. I agree with that. I think this is good to set goals. I think big goals are good. Like he laughed. He was like, next year I want to become a millionaire. He's like, oh, wow. Yeah. Because resolution is like, next year I want to go to the gym.
Yeah,
fuck that.
I was expecting.
Right.
No, but that's like, why are you setting such a low goal? Going to the gym should be the bare minimum. It shouldn't be like your fucking goal for the year. If your goal for the year is to go to the gym, holy shit. Making 6 figures is reasonable. Making $1 million it's a big goal, but it's attainable. Like I said, I think based on this conversation, I think I want to acquire 4 properties. I think that would be a good goal for me, and it would get me into that because that's something that's out of my comfort zone. I'm really good with internet stuff, but when it comes to like real estate, I'm clueless.
Right.
So it's a new journey for me to undertake, and I think if I set that goal to get out of my comfort zone, I'm gonna grow from it. So I think that's
and it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge because now you have to force yourself to educate, yourself regarding understanding different sort of stuff, the landscape of different locations, the overhead of what comes with it. Because when you buy a house is a business within and of itself. Right. Like even if you have no entrepreneurial mindset, you're just regular working and you own a house, when something happens, you got to fix it. And I'm a person who I move with a sense of urgency whenever something has to get done because, what's the alternative? Like if there's a leak in the roof, oh man, it's kind of pricey, but there's a leak in the roof.
You gotta do it.
You have to fix that. Like you can try to, all right, well, I'll put a bucket in the corner, catch some water. I can try to, prolong, but it has to get fixed one way or another. So why delay?
Yeah.
So I've always moved with that sense of urgency. And I think that's something that can really help people, with their New Year's resolutions. What they should do is rather than set something depending on the type of person you are, you can shoot for that goal for the year. But I would always say go month by month and do it with a challenge. Because when I did October, when I did that small fitness challenge that I did, one of those situations, and I had never really done something like that consistently in my past, but I think that's something that could really change stuff. So you could say, all right, for the month of January, every week I'm going to go to the gym for X amount. I'm going to detox my body per se. Right. I'm going to read, X amount of books in the month. And you just hold yourself to it on a month by month basis. Then by the time you get to the end of the year, oh, holy shit, I made a shit ton of progress because you're looking at the year from a 30-day basis. Exactly. And I think that can completely change things. So I think what you can do is set a full annual goal and then a month by month goal, or maybe even a quarterly goal or something like that, just for those who are finding themselves in situations where it's a little difficult for them to find that consistency. Start on a smaller scale and build from there.
And I think writing it out is actually good. Like I said, I have a notebook where I write all my goals out day by day. And I think if you just keep chipping, right? Like if life is a sculpture and you just keep chipping away, eventually something will start to form there. So I agree with you, man. I think that's a good way to wrap. You wanna take us out of here? You wanna bring us
absolutely, absolutely. This has been yet another episode of the Assiduous Podcast, live from the pending hurricane appearance storm outside.
Last time from the penthouse.
Last time from the penthouse.
I'm out of here soon. I'm moving. I put a offer on a spot. So this is gonna be our we're doing a couple holiday episodes here, and then we're out of here. But I have an offer on a spot. Fingers crossed. If this works out, you guys will see. I'm excited for it. I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm not giving away too much information. But please, I just need this.
We need to get that. We need to get that property, and then the next time that you see us, in a few episodes, we will have a different aesthetic. So this might be the last time we have this magnificent mirror over here. But one way or another, I am the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis. He is a Filipino Prince Tycoon serial entrepreneur as well. Renee Licata said it reverse. And this is Assiduous.
Oh, I need to be so bad. I'm holding it. Oh my God.